I'm back. Yeah, I know. It's a long story, but I just want to get back into the swing of things now that I'm on break from college for the next few months. It's been a while since I last built with Kapla, and even longer since I posted a video, partly because of school and partly due to my reluctance to actually put more effort into my videos. This video will be quite a bit different from what I'm used to, and from here on out I'm going to actually include my voice in the videos. Now for this video, I'll walk you through the process of transforming this small Kapla structure displayed in the 1,000-piece Kapla bin, right here. Here I'm recreating the existing model to get a better grasp of the structure's proportions and how I'll lay out the basic form of the transformed building. Now I don't know the exact origins of this structure, or why this one in particular was displayed in each bin, but if you happen to know, please leave a comment as I'd love to hear more about this. It's kind of hard to explain everything about this project without a nice drawing. This drawing represents my initial brainstorming from when I came up with the idea to transform Kapla's bin picture. The exact details won't directly translate into the real build, and I actually ended up scrapping those ascending domino lines altogether, so those parts can be ignored. The crucial part is the bottom's interior, where I set up a long series of levers to effectively multiply the force of the falling plank to knock such a massive structure. It's really more of a divider, as less force is required with each successive step, but I'll spare you the nitty-gritty details for now. I have a short tutorial for how to make said demolition device linked in the description. Anyways, let's begin the transformation. For nearly all of my buildings, I made sure to include at least 4 sets of levers with no weight on top to ensure the force of the falling domino is multiplied enough to knock the structure. For this build, I linked up all the force multipliers to a central domino line right here. I also built additional support pillars near the dominoes to hold up the central structure. Now, what you're seeing on screen was actually recorded way back in November. I decided to take advantage of Thanksgiving break to build this project, especially since it was built entirely by me. I could have built it across multiple weekends, but I hate leaving projects standing while I'm away. I have 2 cats, and both of them have destroyed several Kapla structures in the past. Anyways, once I finished setting up the force multipliers, I capped them off on the back half of the build so I can protect it from falling planks and my 2 cats. I also started building out the front entrance while simultaneously working on the color scheme for the first floor's walls. I'm not going to make this building too saturated with color, as most of the detail comes from the shape of the structure itself. Surrounding the force multipliers, I laid the foundation for the walls and the support pillars, since my floor is hand-scraped and has bumps and troughs everywhere, which make it much harder to place upright and sideways planks directly on the ground. The walls, I simply laid out a few inches of black to green gradient on each pillar, with a thick inner barrier to keep the colored planks and pillars from falling towards the force multipliers. Next, I decided to do something a little different. Instead of capping off the walls with a flat layer of planks, I made arches covering each of the little wall segments. To do this, I needed to set up some upright green planks at just the right height to make the arches hold together. It's a pretty difficult technique, but I don't have thousands of green planks to make a completely solid wall between the arches. Additionally, the outer wall is fractions of a plank taller than the internal structure due to the slightly imperfect ratio of Kapla planks, which I'll probably make another video about in the future. This made the pillars much more unstable since the slightly tilted arches push the standing planks outwards, which can only be reasonably fixed by having lots of weight on top. Once I got part of the arches completed, I connected them to the internal structure and simultaneously added the final few layers of the arches. And if you look closely, the tops of the arches are actually held up by the standing green planks, so I don't have to further complicate the design. Yeah, it happened. I dropped a plank inside this hole, basically forcing me to restart. But screw that, I'm just gonna call it quits. After this unfortunate and ill-timed accident, I decided to put this project on hold. I built a few other structures in the months following, but as many of you may know, I was also very busy with college too. Once spring break came in March, I decided to finish this building once and for all. The new structure's overall size is slightly smaller, and it also lessened the amount of vulnerable planks I needed to cover, which I passed with a lid immediately after finishing the front. This lid necessitated a large bridge to connect each side and support the higher floors, so I opted for V-shaped expansions instead of the cheap, unstable design used in other constructions. I also shrunk the central front section and got rid of those awkward protrusions on either side and replaced them with normal pillars. Above it, I decided to create a little emblem, which eventually led to me knocking down all the front pillars. On this new iteration, the pillars are not indented into the walls, saving planks, but unfortunately compromising their stability. This would actually make it almost impossible to construct the arches in the same way as before, so I constructed some makeshift scaffolding in order to hold the arches in place until I had enough weight on top. The corner and sides of the building were trickier since the arches aren't held on one side by the massive weight of the K emblem. The side arches were also more narrow, which required a bit more thinking to get their proportions right and make them hold together. To keep things simple, I simply covered the corner with 4 green planks, then stacked a bunch of flat planks to finish off the left side of the first floor. I repeated the same process for the right side without many further difficulties. Now at this point, I only had about 24 hours left to complete the entire building, so the grind was on. I'm running out of words to say, so I'll just let the rest of the build speak for itself. Enjoy!